This is a quick video about how to embed something into Blogger that doesn't naturally want to be embedded in a way that you can adjust the width and the height. And so an example of that would be a Google document. And so in order to do this, the first thing that you're going to want to do is have your blog open, and you actually want it open twice. So I'm going to right click on my tab and click duplicate so that I have two tabs open that are the same thing. On one of the tabs, I am going to open a new post just like I normally would. And what I'll do is I'll title this one and maybe this is something that I want to share for whatever reason I'm required to share it. It doesn't matter. Whatever the reason is, you always are going to title it and write something in the compose section of your blog. And so hopefully by this point you've learned about the compose section and the HTML section of your blog. But just as a review, the compose section is when you type, you'll essentially be looking at your blog post just the way everybody else will. The HTML side is more of the coding side. And so we know that on the coding side, I need to make sure that my cursor is on its own line, and now I'm ready to paste an embed code. To get that, I'm going to go to my Google document. I'm going to make sure that it is shared in a way that anyone with the link can view it. That's a really important step that unfortunately a lot of us often forget. So make sure that you've done that. And then you're going to go to File, Publish to the Web. And when I'm here, I have two options. One is to get a link and the other is to get an embed code. The embed code is what I want. I'm going to click Publish. It'll ask me if I'm sure. I click OK, and here is my embed code. I'm going to click Control-C. I'm going to go back to my blog post and paste it here. Now, again, I already told you that this was a video about something where you can't adjust width and height, but just so we're all clear what I'm talking about, I'm going to flip back to Compose. And what you can see is that this Google document is only displaying in a really, really tiny frame, and that's not what I want. But if I go back to HTML, you'll notice that in my embed code, there is no way for me to adjust the width or the height. That's where the second tab comes into play. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to split screen for you so that you can see what's going on both sides here. And so when you have something like this where it's not going to allow you to adjust the width and the height, what you're going to do is you're going to steal code. And you're going to steal code from a former blog post where you have posted a presentation. I just posted this Cornell Notes Tips and Tricks blog post, and it contains an embedded presentation. You'll notice that it opened me right up to HTML. And if I start comparing the code that is here with the code that is here, you'll notice that there are some things that are the same and some things that are different. The really important things that are the same are the fact that it says this iframe at the beginning and that I have those kind of carets in my iframe at the end. You'll also notice that somewhere there is an src equals and there is a web address. And that web address has quotation marks at the beginning and the end of the web address. The iframes at the beginning and the end and this src equals along with the actual link to the document, those are the things that you cannot change between codes on either one of your blog posts. What you can change is anything that comes before or after that. Some of you will start noticing as you're doing this that the other components of the code may be in different locations. So none of that matters. All that matters is that iframe, that src equals, the actual link that's in quotation marks, and then the way that it ends with, again, those carets and that iframe. So what I'm going to show you is over here. I'm going to start with this allow full screen true, and I'm going to go all the way up to my src equals. I'm going to copy that, and I'm just going to put it exactly in my other side where it existed on this one. So again, it's between this iframe and this src equals. I'm going to put my cursor right there and I'm going to paste it. Then I'm going to come back here and my actual link to the document or to this presentation ends where those quotation marks end. From there, I can look at the end and I can grab any of this code at the end up to those 2 carets in that iframe. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to come over here, and again, this is where my link ended. My cursor is there and I'm going to paste it in. I know that some students have had problems in the past because they're copying too much or too little of the code. So just to review, this one now has the iframe right here. I still have my src equals all the way through the end of my link for my document, and I've added these other components, but I still at the end only have, there's one little caret, there's the second caret, and my iframe. Now that I've stolen that code, I can close out of the one window and stay focused on this window. And now you can see that I have a height here that I think is 500. That should be totally fine. And I've got my width down here. Again, for some of you, those height and width sections might be in different spots. That's totally okay. But now I can change what those look like for a Google document. I probably want my height to be around 700. And now when I move back to compose, it's actually displaying in my blog in the way that I want it to. So when I click publish and I view it, anybody who's viewing my blog is actually going to be able to look at and scroll and maneuver with whatever I just embedded. Hopefully this is helpful.